Well, welcome, guys. Another version of Talk Shit Sports. Angel Olvera, Jaime Mota. And today we've got a special guest, Adriana Jimenez of Fino Boxing and also Fox Sports. Adriana, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Very happy to be with you guys all the way from Miami over here. Saludos a los dos.
Well, nice. Miami, how's the weather out there? I bet it's beautiful, right?
You know what? I'm literally in a bubble. So I can't really enjoy Miami. That's probably the saddest part, that I'm in Miami and I can't enjoy Miami. It's like I'm literally anywhere in the world because I'm just stuck in this hotel, which is very nice, by the way. But I see through the windows. I see that I woke up and it was sunny, and then it was rainy, and then it was sunny again, and then it's been rainy. It's just
typical Miami weather.
Yeah.
Typical Miami weather. You know, come around noontime or whatever, 2:00. It rains and then it clears up again, and then it gets hotter and humid.
Yeah, at least I don't have to worry about getting wet or any of that, because again, I'm here. You know, we had the grand arrivals for Canelo and Yildirim, which was a lot of fun. But as far as the weather goes, I'm nice and cool here.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what we want to start talking about. But first, the big news of the day, as we record this show, is Tiger Woods. And the big news is, you know, he had a one-car accident. He rolled his cars in the hills of Palos Verdes, and, you know, he had to be extracted from the vehicle with the jaws of life. And then he was taken to a hospital for emergency surgery. Apparently, he has multiple fractures on his legs. So, you know, hopefully that's something, Angel, that, you know, a lot of the guys, when it's Tiger Woods, everybody goes, whoa, you know, and at least I think they're not life-threatening.
Well, I'm a big golfer, you know that. I mean,
yeah.
I'm always golfing, but he was coming from Terranea Resort, which I've stayed at many times, and you guys know Palos Verdes is the roads are crazy there, going to rolling hills there. So yeah, we'll have some more stuff on that, but you guys, I mean, pretty crazy.
How did the people react in Miami, Adriana? Have they heard about it? You know, what's the buzz?
I honestly, so the grand arrivals just ended a few minutes ago, and I don't really think anyone knows because no one has mentioned it. You know that Tiger Woods is such a huge name that if one person would have heard about it, we've all, you know, would have been buzzing around. So right. I just happened to hear to see right before I went with you guys, but no one has talked about it here. I think we're also focused on just getting our interviews, but I'm sure as soon as I finish with you guys, the buzz will start here around the lobby.
Yeah, because Canelo, he's a big golfer. I know he's hooked on golf right now, Canelo.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah. He's become quite a good golfer as well, too.
Yeah, he's good friends with Abraham Answer from he's a PGA professional golfer, and I see that.
Yeah.
This last fight, Canelo, he did like a golf swing at the end of the fight, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
He actually has like Matchroom Boxing set up like a little mini golf. I don't know what it's called, but the little green carpet to play golf inside your room. He has that. They have. They put that in his room.
A little nice putting surface for him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very addicting sport, that's for sure. But
yes, very frustrating sport, very humbling sport as well.
Absolutely. So Canelo.
Yes. Go ahead.
Canelo Yildirim, right? I was doing some research. I didn't know Yildirim was from Turkey. I got a lot of friends that are from Turkey, and I had no idea. And Adriana, just one quick question I wanted to ask you. Canelo's taking all these fights, and I know Canelo looks amazing. I'm a Canelo fan. I love, Canelo being Mexicano. But do you think like he might take it for granted? Some of these guys are too easy. I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I talked to him just moments ago, and I know that a lot of people are kind of pushing Abney Yildirim to the side because a lot of people don't consider him as a big threat. And the fact that there's already talks about his next fight for May 8th against Billy Joe Saunders. But, he assured me, anything can happen. You can see Oscar Valdez this weekend upsetting the champion. You saw Andy Reese upsetting Anthony Joshua a couple of years ago. So he said anything can happen. So he's obviously focused, and he does look forward forward to sweeping the 168 division, but he's focused because he knows this guy as well. Him and Avni Yildirim shared camp twice when he was preparing for the Triple G fight. So he knows. I guess he knows.
He was a sparring partner, right?
Yes, he was. He was a sparring partner for both of those fights against Triple G. And now Avni Yildirim has joined world-renowned trainer Direll Diaz, who adds more to his repertoire.
Yeah, because Yildirim, he lost his last fight to Anthony Direll here in the U.S.
Yeah, it was like actually exactly
that was 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago, I believe 2 years ago to the date today. I remember I worked on that fight on Fox Deportes, and in that fight, that title, the WBC belt was vacant. If you remember, David Benavidez was stripped from the title because of the cocaine issues that he had. So that title was vacant. Direll and Avni Yildirim fought, and it was a controversial decision, technical decision for Anthony Direll because of the cut that Direll suffered above his eye when he fought Avni Yildirim. And since then, the WBC kind of made Avni Yildirim the mandatory. At that point, David Benavidez wasn't mandatory for that fight, so they said, all right, so the winner, which is Direll, the winner will fight David Benavidez, and then as a mandatory, Avni should face the winner. And then we saw that David Benavidez took the title away from Direll. So he's been the mandatory for a while now since then.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, how in the world did Avni Yildirim become the mandatory, for the WBC? Because not only did he lose to Direll, but he hasn't fought in 2 years. So a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, aren't there other people that deserve to be in that position instead of Yildirim?
Yeah, and I understand like why people are wondering what did Avni Yildirim do to deserve this. But if you really are following it, because we have to go back to 2 years ago, to February 2019, to really understand how it is that Avni Yildirim came to this position of being a mandatory. It just happened that he waited, and now the fight is against the biggest boxer in the world right now. Becoming the mandatory after he lost to Anthony Direll and waiting for the winner between David Benavidez and Anthony Direll. Shortly after that, COVID hit, right? So that stopped all sports. David Benavidez, then fights start to come back. And instead of fighting his mandatory in Avni Yildirim, he decides to take a voluntary defense. And that's what he fought in August against Angulo, Romer Angulo, and lost the title on the scales. So he's stripped from the title. The title becomes vacant. And then come December, Canelo versus Callum Smith talked to the WBC. They put that, they're going to make that title be available for them with one condition, that the winner has to face Avni Yildirim within 90 days. And there you go. And that's how Avni Yildirim is now fighting Canelo Alvarez.
Well, he's fighting the biggest fight of his career right now, that's for sure. So it might be too big for him. So he might be a little nervous. So maybe.
How did you see them today at the Grand Arrivals, Adriana? How did you see Canelo, and how did you see Yildirim? I mean, like Angel says, this is the biggest fight of his life. Yeah. It's one thing going from an Anthony Direll and then getting a Canelo. I mean, you're taking several steps up.
And and then I could see it in Avni's face and when he talked to me. I know there's like a language barrier, but he seems so excited. He told me like 100 times, "I'm just so happy. Like I'm so excited. I can't wait for fight night." Every time I would ask him a question, because of that language barrier, he would try his best to give me his answer, but he would always circle back and say just how excited and how he can't wait to hopefully become a champion. If he becomes champion, he'd be the first boxer from Turkey to be a world champion. So that's extra motivation for him. He wants to make his country proud. His country loves him. He's a superstar over there.
Well, both of these guys got their country behind them both. So. Yeah, Canelo has two countries behind him. He's got the U.S. and Mexico. So he's got both of them. But it's
you can't forget though that the Canelo, like some Mexicans aren't with him though. A lot of people love to hate on him because I actually even talked to Abney about that. I was like, okay, you have, of course, people from Turkey and your fans, but you also have some Mexicans that are rooting for you. They want to see Canelo lose. They want you to win. You know, what is that? How does that feel? And he told me so many times, like, I love my Mexican fans. I love my Mexican fans. I can't wait to give them a great show, become champion, defeat Canelo and stuff. So he even knows that it's a known fact that just as Canelo has a lot of fans, he also has a lot of people who want to see him lose.
Yeah, it's like back in the day when De La Hoya and Chavez. It was weird because it was like, well, who you go for? And you have the Chicanos, and then you have the Mexicanos, and you have like, but yeah, that's hey, with success and fame comes haters, right? So Canelo's doing it right.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, it reminds me of Oscar De La Hoya because a lot of people didn't like Oscar. Some people still don't like Oscar because of the fact that he was successful. He was a good-looking guy, whatever. I mean, yes, he had all the women behind him. Yeah. But like the boxing fan, the guys, there were a lot of people that didn't like him. And so, it's a little bit similar right now with Canelo, and especially because, they were both together. Oscar served as promoter for Canelo for a while. But Adriana, we're here with Adriana Jimenez of Fino Boxing. You can see her on her YouTube channel at Fino Boxing, also on her social media, and Adriana_Jimenez, also reporter and producer for Fox Deportes. And Adriana, Angel mentioned the fact that, there's going to be two countries, in favor of Canelo this coming Saturday, but they're fighting at Hard Rock Stadium, like the Dolphins' home stadium. What have you heard? What's the latest on how many people are going to be allowed in to that fight?
The max amount of fans that we can expect at Hard Rock Stadium is 15,000. So a 15,000 packed stadium would be considered sold out. Obviously, with COVID restrictions and social distancing and everything in place, 15,000 is a max. And from what I've seen, there's still plenty of tickets available. So I'm not exactly sure if we'll be able to draw in. I mean, usually, I don't know if it's a Florida thing, a Miami thing, but we've seen them pack bigger arenas in other places. Not sure what's going on.
Well, Miami it's a sort of town. I lived in Miami, and there's so many things to do. That I'm sure, if people are, I don't know how, they're treating COVID right now down in Miami, but the beaches, there's so much to do.
Come on, Jaime, you only can see the walls so many times. What is that place called? I mean, it's Miami, right?
Exactly.
The walls with graffiti, the nice graffiti, right?
But it's true. I mean, there's so much to do in Miami, and Miami's always sort of been a very fickle type of sports town. You've got to be, doing extremely well, which Canelo obviously is. But you've got to be doing well for people to show up. The Dolphins have had, a lot of problems selling out Hard Rock Stadium. The Miami Hurricanes were more popular than, the Miami Dolphins at one point, just because of the fact that they were a lot better. Then the Heat got better with, Dwayne Wade, Shaq, and then LeBron came to town. So, it's that type of team, that type of city, that needs a winner.
What do they call them? Fair weather fans, where they only win, they come around. Miami, yeah.
Well, what?
If this fight was in LA, it would be sold out in 2 seconds. Or Texas, Arizona, it would have been sold out right away.
Absolutely, yeah. But you hit the nail on the head. Fair weather, Miami, just because of the fact that you can go outside and do so much.
Yeah, but
but have you heard? Have you felt a buzz, Adriana, in Miami about what's going on this weekend?
I'm in a bubble. Like
Right.
there's no buzz. It's so different. This year I've only been able to cover 2 fights so far. I covered the Ryan Garcia, which was also in a semi bubble because I was able to. I didn't stay in that hotel. I was able to cross the street and go to the other one. This time I literally from the airport got the Uber and was straight here, quarantined the 2 days, and I came out this morning for the grand arrivals, and that's it. So I'm just looking at Miami through my window. I don't know what buzz is going on. Like,
Send you pictures.
Are you at the JW in Brickell? Are you in Brickell?
yes.
Oh
yes.
yeah, I love that's a great hotel.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great area. Too bad you're in a bubble. That's a great area to go out.
I know. Like,
well, I don't know how much is going on right now. Precisely because of COVID.
Yeah, but you've been in California too long. She's in Florida. There's stuff going on over there.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
I had some friends that came. They had COVID in December, so they were like, "Hey, we got the antibodies now, so let's go have some fun, I guess." And they came to Florida. They came to Miami, and they went out. They told me that I saw their videos and their pictures on Instagram. Like they were dancing and drinking and everything without any masks. So. From what I've heard, things are a little more relaxed over here. I haven't actually been able to see
you would think, right?
Yeah. So, I was here a year ago. I was able to come when Fox had the Super Bowl over here in Miami. So I was able to catch
that was a great week.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And there was also boxing. Well, Matchroom Boxing also took advantage of some people being in town, and they had some boxing during the middle of the week. And see, that's what I'm used to. I'm used to like traveling to a city to cover the fight, but then being able to enjoy the town. Miami and New York are one of the places that I love going to work because you work in the morning or afternoon, and then the evening night you get to have some fun. But I'm here in a bubble. Last night I wasn't able to even leave my room. Now that I have my negative wristband that I tested negative, now I can at least come to the lobby later on tonight. I'm sure they have to have a bar around here or something, so at least I can wander around here.
Yeah, it's a lot has been talked about lately as well, Adriana, about Canelo wanting to be a little bit more active than usual, especially now in 2021. He's mentioned that he wants to fight 4 times in 2021. And you mentioned May 8th. The fight against Billy Joe Saunders is already signed. What have you heard about where it's going to take place? We know that it's in Vegas, but where exactly is it going to take place?
It's funny. I asked Canelo if this fight was official, if it was pretty much a done deal, and he's like, no. There's, we're working on that, but hold on. He's like, we're working on it, but it's not official yet. So then I talked to Eddie Reynoso right after him, and I asked him the same question: Is it a done deal? And he's like, yes, it's a done deal. We got it done. We can't release or don't have any other information, but that's what we're gonna do next. Come May 8th, we'll fight against Billy Joe Saunders. But so I was like, okay, well, Canelo made it seem like it's not.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to, let the cat out of the bag. But rumblings are that it wouldn't be at T-Mobile Arena, but it would be at the Raiders' new stadium. It would be at the Death Star. So I mean, that would be huge. Cinco de Mayo weekend, maybe probably the biggest fight. Coming back from COVID. Even if there are restrictions going into that fight as to how many people can be there, if you can get 20,000 people in that stadium, it might be something to consider, because a lot of people are going to want not only to see it from the inside, because even though when the Raiders played, fans were not allowed in. So it might be the first event with actual fans to take place, at that stadium.
Yeah, I obviously I don't have any official news about where it would be if it would be there, but if possible, that would be amazing. You know, I know things are coming along with vaccines and just hopefully I know it's going to be a while for us to go back to normal, but at least living with it and just being able to have events like that, being able to maybe put 20,000 in that arena. It'd be the third title that Canelo is going for, so at least I think the expectations are a bit more. A lot of people are saying that Billy Joe Saunders brings a more complicated style that could give Canelo some trouble. So I think if some people are not that interested in this fight because they're overlooking Abby Yildirim and because it's a mandatory, at least maybe they'll put more attention and draw more fans when he fights Billy Joe Saunders in May.
Yeah, I think Canelo and Pacquiao should fight and make 100, 200 million each, and then, I mean, that's what I would do. I mean, they both want to do it. I mean, I heard Pacquiao wants to run for president. So there's his money.
He needs the money for that to run for president.
I mean, that'd be the two biggest. I figure it out, make it happen, do it somewhere, and I mean, I think Canelo would probably knock him out in 5 rounds or 6 rounds, but it'd be great.
The thing is, Manny's so small compared to Canelo. I mean, Canelo's fighting at 168. Manny's fighting at 147. I don't even know if Manny can actually make 154. And I don't think that Canelo can come down to 154 anymore.
Manny could just eat Mexican food.
I don't even know if that fight is feasible.
Manny just eats tacos, enchilada. He'll gain some weight. He'll have some lonjas maybe when he's fighting. But hey,
I got the recipe for that.
He'll make $100 million. I mean, who cares?
I got the recipe for that.
What do you think, Adriana? You think that would be a big?
I mean, obviously, 2 big names. It would draw a lot of eyeballs towards it. But if we're not even seeing Canelo go down to 160 anymore, he's not really interested in that. Going down to 154, that would be really tough. And I think once you start talking about 154, you kind of also look towards another direction and say, all right, well, there's also Errol Spence who's been wanting to fight with Canelo. Errol Spence can go up to 154, and if Canelo were to be able to make it to 154, we could do that fight too, which I think that one would be more of a competitive fight. But Manny Pacquiao, we've heard that there's a possibility that Ryan Garcia is going to fight him, and I asked Eddie Reynoso today about it. I told him, we're hearing from certain sides that fight is in the works, and then we've also heard like Oscar De La Hoya say, no, we're not talking. So, okay, are you guys talking or not? Because some of you guys are saying that you are, and he made it seem like, yeah, we're still kind of like waiting around to see what happens. It's all kind of like up in the air, but we'll see. So he didn't scratch it out. He didn't say, no, what are you talking about? Like, that's not going to happen. So the fact that Manny Pacquiao might fight Ryan Garcia, I'm still trying to process that, because that is pretty surprising.
That's dangerous for him. It could be like Mayweather and Canelo. Pacquiao might beat Ryan. I mean,
I think he would.
Ryan Garcia got knocked down by the English dude. I mean, Manny Pacquiao is no joke. I mean, I don't know. That'd be interesting. I think he's too young for that. I don't know but it's a big money fight. Money talks.
I think that it's a fight where I think it's like a win-win for Ryan Garcia, because if he beats Manny Pacquiao, it'll just elevate him. I mean, he's already a superstar, really. Like maybe in boxing, he's not that much.
He's a social media superstar.
Yeah. I
don't think he's a boxing superstar just yet.
So I think he's.
You got to pump the brakes on that.
A superstar, but maybe not a boxing superstar. But if he's able to beat Manny Pacquiao in general superstardom, I think it will elevate him so much. And if he loses, it's kind of like how Canelo took the loss to Mayweather. Like, okay, you're still too young. You're fighting the legend in Manny Pacquiao. It's kind of like one of those losses. Like, all right, like it's not that bad. It's not like you lost to some random dude.
Right. Yeah, you're right. That makes sense. Absolutely makes sense.
And Adriana, you brought it up, the fact that there was a big upset, I guess you could call it, over the weekend with Oscar Valdez, knocking out, completely dominating Miguel Alacrán Berchelt. Who did you have as the favorite going into that fight, and what do you think about it now? The post-mortem after we saw what we saw.
I know that a lot of people were favoring in Berchelt. I stuck to, honestly, 50-50 because I knew, well, in my mind, I felt that, yes, Berchelt is naturally like the bigger, stronger fighter. But God, like I've seen Oscar Valdez in those wars. I was there when he fought with the broken jaw against Scott Quigg and other fights where he was dropped and come back. So I knew that he, if someone was to have it in there to take it all the way, it would be Oscar Valdez. So I was never really able to say this guy or this guy was going to win. So I saw it 50-50 just because I had Berchelt over here, but then Oscar's grit and just heart would bring it back to an even playing field. And so when I was watching the fight, I was like, okay, Oscar looks good. And then I was so excited on the fourth round for Oscar. But then I felt so horrible for Berchelt. I know both of these fighters. I've known them for a long time. I interview them all the time, so I kind of consider them, kind of friends. And it's so weird to be like, yay for one friend, but then oh shit, like your other friend's getting his ass kicked. And like,
absolutely. Yeah, but the fight, and tell me if you think of it the same way. I think for me, the fight was over in the fourth round. Yes. Berchelt was just not the same after that. I don't think he ever regained his legs back after that. He seemed woozy from the fourth round on. And even though, probably like in the seventh, eighth, ninth, he was able to, corner Berchelt on the ropes and he hit him, Valdez on the ropes. He did get to him, but his punches just didn't seem to have power anymore. I mean, he just seemed to be throwing punches and bunches, and that was it. And Valdez moved extremely well. And any time that he caught Berchelt would move. I mean, it seemed like he was ready to go from the fourth round on. It just seemed like it was just a matter of time.
I don't know how Miguel Berchelt came out of the fourth round. Yep. It seemed like it took an eternity. He was on skates. Like he had absolutely no legs. Again, I don't know how he made it out, but he did. And then at that point, some of us considered like maybe the corner should stop this fight. He looked really, really bad, and I figured that the following round, so on the fifth round, I didn't think he was going to make it. Seeing how he was in the fourth round, I didn't think he'd make it past the fifth. I think Oscar probably had to, take a little breather because they kind of relaxed a little more. It wasn't until the ninth round, right, that he was able to drop him again, and then 10th round finish him. But it was tough. It was Valdez took so much punishment. It was Valdez executed their game plan perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, you could see he was just swinging, and his footwork and just that left hook just knocked him out. But I saw that Shakur Stevenson is calling out, Valdez now. He wants to fight. He's calling him out to have the big fight. So I don't know if you guys seen that.
Yeah, he was there, and it's one of those fights that I think should get done, and I expect, because both of them are under Top Rank ESPN, that obviously it should be able to be made easily. However, it's up to Bob Arum and everyone at Top Rank. Like, do you want to make it? You can make it, but do you want to? I
don't think it's a good fight to make. I don't think right now it's not a good fight for Oscar Valdez. I really don't think so. I think there's other guys at 130 that Oscar right now should try to enjoy and maybe try to unify with guys like Jamel Herring. Jojo Diaz is also there. There's guys that are not as dangerous as Shakur Stevenson, who I think right now is on his way to maybe being in the pound for pound best fighter in the world conversation in the near future. He's that good. And I think he would be probably the most dangerous fighter for Oscar Valdez at 130. I think, yes, that fight should be made at some point. But after you have such a great performance, come on, enjoy the fruits of your labor, Try and go and get a few more good purses with other guys. Like I mentioned, there's about 6 or 7 guys that he can fight before he fights Shakur Stevenson.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Shakur Stevenson is an extremely dangerous opponent for anyone, but particularly here for Valdez. He is so talented, and he is a mandatory for the winner between Jamal Herring and Carl Frampton. So I think ideally what Tom Frank is envisioning is, you got to milk this. You got to have Shakur face the winner between those two fighters. Ideally, I guess Shakur defeats that winner, gets the title, and then down the road, you can have Shakur Stevenson and Oscar Valdez unify those titles.
Well, I believe the IBF belt is vacated, right? Because Jojo Diaz he lost it on the scales.
Yes.
So maybe that's a fight that can also happen, and have the IBF belt, be in play as well. That's a fight that I think would be interesting. Jojo Diaz, he's quick, but I think Oscar has the upper hand going into that fight. There's other names that maybe want to come back at 130. You've got Leo Santa Cruz, who lost to Gervonta Davis, but maybe wants to get back into the whole thing. That might be an interesting fight. And Gervonta Davis is also very dangerous. We saw what he did to Leo Santa Cruz. So he's also another name in the mix.
There's so many names and so many possibilities that you can make. I would love to see like a Leo Santa Cruz and Oscar Valdez. I think it would be something similar to like the Berchelt fight, like the two Mexicans battling it out. I think it would be a fight full of fireworks. The fight against Jojo Diaz, I think that'd be really exciting too. That's one of those fights that I've actually been asking Oscar Valdez for many years now, even before. I don't even know. No, Jojo wasn't a champion. Jojo became a champion a year ago here in Miami. So when Oscar Valdez was already a champion, I would bring up like this kind of rivalry between the Mexican Olympian and the U.S. Olympian. And he, many times told me like, yeah, like that would be an awesome fight to make. If no one wants to give him a title shot, like I'll give it to him. Like we can make this happen. So it's a fight that he's already been saying, let's do it since for a few years now. So I think it'd be interesting from how Jojo looked in his last fight, and obviously not being able to make weight, to the way how Oscar shined on Saturday. Comparing those two, I would give the upper hand to Oscar Valdez, considering what we just recently saw from them.
Absolutely. It's funny, we're talking about making fights happen. Teofimo Lopez is talking about, he's about to move on from Top Rank if they don't guarantee him more money for the next fight with Cambosos or whatever. He's talking about that. You guys hear about that?
Yeah, that's crazy. They were going to do a purse bid last week on Thursday. And whoever honestly is the highest bidder will take over that fight. So it's kind of crazy to think that fight with Teofimo and his mandatory, it may not even be on Top Rank ESPN. It could be, I don't know who's going to bid for it. It could be on the zone. It could be DAZN. I don't know if Fox is interested in doing that, but there's a huge possibility that it might not happen. So it was supposed to happen last week, and from that last thing I heard, they moved
to next week, right?
That first bit to this week. It should be
this week.
Supposedly it'll be this Thursday. So
I guess we'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
Adriana, one more thing I forgot to mention. With Canelo and Yildirim, we're going to have the weigh-in we're going to have a weigh-in show on Fox Deportes on Friday, and we're also going to have a post on Saturday after the Canelo fight. So, we have you covered with everything Canelo. At the same time, we have Anthony Direll going up against Kyrone Davis this Saturday on Fox and Fox Deportes, PBC. What can you tell us about that fight?
Of course, first invite everyone to check out the weigh-in on Friday. It'll be on Fox Deportes. We're going to be able to see a good friend here, Jaime Mota, along with the living legend, Eric Morales, and of course, also Jesse Lozada. I'll be behind the scenes. I'll be sprinting around like crazy, getting everything done. But I invite
the big
you guys
producer.
I'll be taking care of that, and of course also post-fight. We're gonna have these the top guys break it down and analyze everything that went down with Canelo and Yildirim. But of course, before this analysis, this post-fight analysis, we do have the PBC fights, and I think it's kind of funny, and I understand totally why Fox did it. They have Anthony Direll fighting. I don't remember the guy's first name. Something with the K. Davis.
Kyrone Davis.
Kyrone Davis.
Kyrone Davis, yeah.
And I think I know exactly why they're doing that. They're showing we have Anthony Direll here, the guy who already beat Avni Yildirim 2 years ago. It's like, all right, Canelo, you're taking on the guy that our guy already beat 2 years ago.
Well, it's a 10-year difference. They both got 2 losses. The other guy's 26 years old, one's 36 years old. So it's just like, I don't know, like you said, that they're just showing their weight, right?
Well, you know what? They've got dates that they've got to fill too. So, I understand that, but it's hard when you're going up against Canelo. But then all week, I know you're coming back to LA for that fight. However, Fino Boxing is going to be in Miami all week long, taking care of Canelo Yildirim, right?
Yes, that's correct. Rigo will be staying here in Miami for the rest of the week until fight night. He'll be bringing up on our YouTube channel, Fino Boxing, he'll take over and do all the interviews and grab all the content of everything that will come up next, as in the final press conference, the weigh-in, pre-fight stuff, and of course the post-fight press conference. He'll take care of that, so you guys can check it out on Fino Boxing. Something that I wanted to add about our PBC fights is that fight between Direll and Davis. It's actually WBC got in there and made it a title eliminator. I don't know exactly why, but it's now a title eliminator, which would mean that the winner between Anthony Direll and Davis will be the WBC mandatory for the winner between Canelo and Yildirim.
That fight, I don't see that fight taking place for a while, because Canelo's already mentioned, Billy Joe Saunders in May, then Caleb Plant probably in September. And then, well, if he has to fight anyone, he wants to fight in December. Maybe that's when he could do, the mandatory. But then again, who knows what's going to come into play? And there's other guys that want to come up to 168. For example, I think a very interesting fight would be Jermall Charlo at 160 coming up to 168 to fight Canelo.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen Jermall Charlo saying he's moving up, and he's really interested in that fight against Canelo. David Benavidez, and these are fighters that I asked Eddie Reynoso today about possible fights. Like, we know that Canelo's trying to sweep the 168 division. He's trying to become the undisputed champ. So that's basically what he answered. Like, these fights against Charlo and Benavidez, they would be great, exciting fights, but they're not champions at this point. They, at least at 168, they're not current champions. We're going for those guys that have the title. So that's Billy Joe Saunders and Caleb Plant, as long as Caleb Plant doesn't take any other fight in between there and loses that or something. But that's who he's going for. That possibility of a December fight is still kind of up in the air. I know I had heard that, but when we asked Canelo if he were to fight in December, that would be how many fights he fought?
Four fights.
That would be four. Yeah. So I think. I mean, I think he was kind of like, dang, that is a lot of fights. That December one is still not for sure.
The guys, back in the 90s and 80s, they used to fight more than 4 times a year.
Yeah.
I think nowadays we kind of expect most of the big fighters to do twice a year, especially Canelo's been doing like the Cinco de Mayo on September 16. So I kind of, the fact that he's been fighting, more often that he fought in December, and if he were to fight this December, I think that's great. I hope that other champions and other top fighters kind of follow suit and be able to bring us more and more boxing, not just twice a year or once a year,
Yeah, you're right. Boxing is back. There's a lot of good fighters. I mean, it's exciting. It kind of was flat there for a few years ago, but it's back, and that's exciting.
No, and not only that, but the guy that's getting a lot of these guys, to become household names now, it seems like they're all under one umbrella, and it's Eddie Reynoso who's training most of these guys. I saw your interview with Luis Neri, who left camp because he didn't feel that it was the right fit, but he was there, and now you've got Ryan Garcia, Oscar Valdez, who had probably the knockout of the year this past weekend. You've got Canelo, you've got Andy Ruiz. You've got a lot of guys under Eddie Reynoso. Is he the best trainer right now?
It's always a tough question, but I think right now, at least in my opinion, I think Eddie Reynoso does have a big lead in the race of trainer of the year, and we're barely in February, so that I think that's speaking volumes of the tremendous job that he's been doing so far, and just I think especially if you look back at the Ryan Garcia fight, how even though he came in as a favorite, but he was knocked down, and he was able to come back from that, get up and not just win by decision over Luke Campbell, but actually stop him. And then Valdez coming from the underdog and being able to win in that spectacular fashion. I think Eddie Reynoso is doing huge right now, and it wouldn't surprise me if he were to win Trainer of the Year once again.
Yeah, he sure does have the momentum right now. He's got the good fighters fighting right now. He's got momentum. Yeah, that's a tough question. Who's the best trainer? I mean, how do you answer that, right? You're there, they're all around you.
I had Joel Diaz sitting literally a couple of chairs over. So I'm like, sorry.
You got Freddie Roach over there, Joel Diaz over there.
You know that Angel, he rubs elbows with the big guys in boxing, because I think he's had drinks with Adrian Broner, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Really?
I've had drinks next to Adrian Broner.
Oh, okay.
No. I was at Caesar's Palace. There's a sushi restaurant. I forgot what they call it there in the restaurant. And he was next to me in a table, and I was surprised how little he was. Like, he was a little dude. I was like, maybe I could. I just got that little. You got excited there for a hot second.
He's been fighting lately. Why not?
But no, I just went up to him and hey, what's up, man? And then all his big guys, I thought he was a fighter. Can he hold his own? I mean, I just say what's up, And what's up, man? What's up? Whatever. And he was there with his posse and his crew, whatever. Or I don't know if I could say that, but we were talking about him because I know you're a big fan of Broner, Jaime. And
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and
number one.
You're excited that he won this past weekend.
I don't know. I saw that fight. Look, first of all, he's always talking, a lot of shit. Obviously, that's his number one thing is to do that. He said he was going to put on a great show, whatever. Then he couldn't make weight. They moved the fight from 140 to 147. They blamed Santiago for that. And then in the fight, he comes out and it's like he forgot how to fight in the first half of the fight. The first round, he didn't land one punch. Not one punch.
Is that the round that
judges and judges still gave him the round? I don't understand.
Maybe it was the glitter. Maybe they were distracted by the glitter on his shorts. It said, you know, the funny part about the fight, Adriana, did you see the fight was funny because his shorts or his dress, whatever he was wearing, kept coming up. And then as they were boxing, the ref would pull him down. He'd pull it down and he'd be like, that was funny.
I actually did not see the fight that day. It took me a couple of days to watch it. So that day I had a long day. I was working, and then I caught the Valdez Berchelt. That one I was not going to miss.
Right.
I hate to say that, like, I was not. I didn't put it into a priority to watch the Adrian Broner fight.
I think that's the case for most people now.
Yeah,
you know,
I have a lot of fun seeing his.
Sort of a you know, like a sidekick. He's not someone who people really want to, you know, see in the ring. They're more interested about, you know, what he does outside the ring.
Yeah, he's really entertaining outside of the ring. Some of the pastimes when he, like I think when he fought, his last fight was 2 years ago against Manny Pacquiao. I remember when I went to the press conference. I mean, I had so much fun just listening to, like, waiting my turn, listening to some of the other interviews. He said some crazy, just hilarious things, and everyone would be like, "You need to be like more into like comedy, or I think you might be. I mean, you're very talented. He is very talented. He's a champion in 4 divisions. I think just at some point things just kind of, I don't know if it's not clicking or something. It's just it's not like he's not the same Adrian Broner anymore, but. To go back to the point about, like, I skimmed through the fight because when I did the post Berchelt Valdez, our post fight show on YouTube, everyone was asking us, like, did you catch the fight from Adrian Broner? And I told them, no, I haven't seen it yet. I will eventually watch it. And everyone was just kind of summarizing it for me. It was awful. Everyone hated it. Everyone was telling me that he got robbed. Oh, no, he didn't get robbed. That the opponent got robbed. That they handed the victory to Adrian. That he didn't deserve it. Everyone was very, very unhappy with what they saw in Adrian Broner's comeback after 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know he was fighting. Jaime had to remind me, so I watched it last night, and you know, it was interesting though because he did show signs of the old Broner, and after the 6th round, he was his jab, his hook, he was showing, even though the skirt was flying up and the ref had to keep pulling it down, he was showing some good signs. But you know, Santiago was hitting him really good in the body, but he had no power. If that was Canelo hitting somebody in the body or somebody else, Ryan Garcia, Broner would have been on the ground because he was connecting with him. And then the last round, Santiago really laid it on him. I mean, that was, I think, the deciding factor, because even though they deducted a point from Santiago from the late hit, the referee was getting on. You know, he was pretty aggressive with both of them. But I think, Santiago won that fight. I mean, but you know, it is boxing. I don't know what the judges were seeing, but
I don't either. You know, and the thing is, after the fight, Broner was extremely upset at Steve Farhood of Showtime, who had Santiago winning, and you know, he went off on this expletive rant on Steve Farhood.
Yeah, F him.
And then after the fight, not only that, but when they asked him, so, you know, what's next? You know, typical Broner, he said, you know, it's time to cash checks, pop bottles, and have sex. I'm like, that's the Broner that we've come to get to know now. You know, he makes more noise outside the ring than he actually does inside the ring with his gloves.
Well, Jaime, at the end of the guy asked him too. He said, everybody on Twitter thinks you lost the fight. And he says, F Twitter, they don't like me anyways. He said, F them too. F the world,
that's
right?
Broner.
Fuck the world.
That's classic Broner. I've seen his Instagram stories where he's like, hey guys, like, I'm broke. Like, I literally have no money. I just have rich friends. Broke. Like, I have rich friends that help me out. So here's my Cash App. Donate. I think he asked for $13, and people send him the money. People send him the $13, and then he takes the screenshots and puts them up on his stories. Like, thanks, and people are sending him money.
You know what? Homer Simpson right now would come perfectly into the. It's like, it's unreal.
Awesome.
You know what? Even though we've had a lot of fun talking about boxing, But we need to circle back and talk about Tiger Woods and Angel. What is it that you've heard lately about Tiger? He had a single car accident wreck this morning in Los Angeles in Palos Verdes. He rolled his car and they had to extract him from the car with the jaws of life, and he went into surgery. He's doing a show at Rolling Hills Country Club. It's a golf show with some celebrities. I think Jessica Alba was going to be there today, Justin Timberlake. Yesterday was David Spade and Dwayne Wade. And he's staying at the Terranea Resort there in Rancho Palos Verdes. And they said that when he was getting his car, it was the loaner from Genesis, the tournament he just had, that he was really like frustrated, and he took off and he almost hit the director of the show. The director was like, whoa, like, and then he just took off. And you guys know we live in California, but LA, those roads are crazy. You look at a Texan, you could fly off the road. So they don't know. They don't know. But he's in surgery with leg injuries. They said that's all they multiple leg injuries, and that's all we know right now of what's going on.
Some of those roads up in Palos Verdes are, like you mentioned, they're crazy. Sometimes, like I've been up there, and you have to be very careful, especially at night. I mean, I know this happened during the day, but it
happened at 7 a.m. Right? That's more or less when you had the accident.
7 a.m. 7:15. Yeah. They're thinking maybe there was overcast too. They don't know because he was winding, but then they don't know. I don't know.
And he just recently had back surgery as well. And he's mentioned, that he's needed painkillers. You never know if he was, using painkillers, and maybe those had something to do with it. You never know. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have happened, but once again, not a good thing with Tiger and cars.
I mean, yeah, you could have painkillers and some tequila too. You never know. I mean, you don't know. He was in LA. Hanging out with celebrities, who knows?
No, the tequila is strictly Tom Brady stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Avocado tequila, too.
Avocado tequila, that's what it is.
That one made me throw up last time I took that tequila.
Hey, Adriana, since, you guys do so well with Fino boxing, I don't know if you're part of the whole cohort or whatever, but did you hear Jeff Bezos is now interested in buying the Washington football team, the ex-Redskins. That would be huge because he is the richest man in the United States, if not the world. And I think that team needs, some new blood. They need a new direction. Dan Snyder, he pretty much ran that whole team into the ground, that franchise. Maybe that would be a good thing. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's great.
I hadn't heard that, but I mean, whenever the richest man in the world comes in to take over a team, that I'm sure the possibilities are endless there. A lot can be done.
Absolutely. It's all about the culture. I mean, Dan Snyder, the culture, the NFL, it's horrible at Washington. Washington's, I mean, it's the same thing Jerry Jones is doing with the Cowboys and Al Davis did with the Raiders. I mean, they need a new owner, new energy, new life. They got a good coach. They got some good players there right now, young guys. They got Ron Rivera out there. And I don't know. I think it'd be a great day for Washington, a.k.a. also known as the Redskins or football team, whatever they're called now.
Can you imagine, what? This could also potentially be huge for the NFL because if you're talking Bezos, you're talking Amazon, you're talking Whole Foods, you're talking Trader Joe's now, which he just bought like a couple of months ago. So the possibilities are endless as far as advertising is concerned as well for the NFL.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Wow.
Yeah. NFL, what are you going to do?
You could, you never know. Maybe for next Christmas, you can order, a visit from one of the Redskins, from one of the Washington football team members to come over to your house through Amazon. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, or we can ship you over there, to the Washington. And, then you could become a Redskins fan instead of the Dolphins because, they're not going anywhere.
No. See, that's the thing. I've got a Ram fan here who now is a little bit more enthused because he's got a real quarterback now. And so you guys are closer to getting back to the Super Bowl.
Adriana, he's just mad.
Miami's doing well. The Dolphins are doing well.
Look, I'm loyal to the soil, right? I'm a Dodger, Lakers, Rams, Kings. This is my hometown. You're more than welcome to, go back to Brickell or whatever, or not go wherever. I know you're enjoying the LA.
I went
LA
to
weather
school
here.
there. That's why I'm a Miami fan. And I'm a huge Dan Marino fan, which I don't know if you guys can see. I'll put him. There he is. There he is.
I used to like Dan.
There's Dan Marino. So,
but Adriana, he gives me a hard time. He's in LA and he's talking about my teams and he's living. Can you believe that? I mean, what do you think?
But I think, I feel like it's no disrespect, Jaime, but I feel like it's kind of like the LA fans that I meet and they're Cowboy fans and they've never been to Dallas ever in their life. But at least you went to school here.
I went to school. I lived there for a couple years before. You have more reason. I went to school in Miami. The first NFL game I ever watched was a Dolphin game, and I love the way Dan Marino played, and so I've always been a Dolphin fan. So yeah, my it's not that I like every Miami team, which a lot of people think that every team in Florida is my team just because. But no, I'm a Hurricane first and foremost, and then I'm a
Buccaneers
Dolphin fan.
Buccaneers,
and other than that, heck no.
You were going for the Rays against my Dodgers. You were going for the Rays.
That's because I was going against you and the Dodgers, but that's why I was pulling for the Rays.
Right.
You know that.
Well, Dodgers, we're running it back this year. Get ready for that one. So
162 games, buddy. Like I've always said, it's not a 60-game season.
Who does that? Adriana, who are you going for?
For baseball?
Yeah.
Baseball? See, I kind of have. This is difficult for me to answer because growing up, my dad was more of a soccer and boxing fan. So like with soccer, we would just watch Chivas. So Chivas, and Mexico play. That's kind of like all he watches soccer.
You don't like America?
Not America. Not America.
Not at all.
It's Chivas all the way. And then we watch boxing. He was never really any other sports fan, so I didn't really grow up watching other sports. So he was actually, let me circle back. He did like the Dodgers, but he wouldn't watch them. He supported the local team. So I guess I consider myself a Dodger fan, even though I admit that I wouldn't really watch it growing up. And then come high school, when I met my husband, he's like a hardcore Angels fan, like hardcore. So I feel like I rooted for the Dodgers, but I felt so neutral because I had never gone to a baseball game in my life. And then my husband comes along and he took me to all these Angels games. And so I feel like I just kind of became an Angels fan because of him. I was going to all the Angel games and
well, God knows that they won a World Series, and before this last year in the bubble,
and it was around that time.
At least the Angels won, in a regular scenario before the Dodgers got back to it.
I remember that. That's kind of like the time when he kind of like he introduced me, I guess, to going to actual baseball games in person, and they happened to win, and so I guess I kind of was an Angels fan, but I mean, I guess if you take that out of the equation, I don't know, like. Am I a Dodger fan? I honestly, I root for all LA teams. I do. So I kind of have a hard time. Maybe with basketball, I don't have that much of a difficult time. I do root for Lakers all the way. I do attend some Clipper games, but Lakers, SLC, like with no problem because I've been going to Lakers games for a while. So, but I kind of have an issue though with like baseball. I don't know where I stand, and people with that rivalry, they don't understand me. They're like, no, you can't like both of them. You need to like one of them.
I think growing up here for so long, for my whole life, born and raised here, my parents as well. The Angel Dodgers, there's no rivalry on the Dodger side. I think the Angels maybe are trying to build one up because they're like our cute little brothers. They're like the little brother. Oh, they're cute. They're down there in Anaheim. It's like the Clippers, right? Oh, the Clippers are cute. We share the stadium with them. They may win one here and there, but it's like there's because I've seen families where they wear a Dodger and an Angel jerseys, like custom, and I was supporting the Angels in the World Series. Like if you go to New York, the Yankees and Mets, they don't like each other.
No, not at all.
They don't. Angels and Dodgers, I don't see it like that. I just don't. But we don't like the Giants, like or some other teams. But
I think your friends are nicer than mine because mine give you a hard time, and then and I see my husband.
They're Raider Dodger fans.
My husband, I don't really like to argue and debate. My husband does, and
we gotta get Rigo on that.
Yeah. Oh, if you guys want to debate, like especially if it's like Angels, and like he will go on forever and ever, and he's gonna start bringing you like all these stats, like, oh well, the Angels did this and the Dodgers did like, oh, but he goes on and
on. Tell him he's more than welcome to, because the name of our show, it's Talk Shit Sports, and he can come in and he can do it all day long if he wants, and he can go. So we've got Angel. I'll be the ref for that show. We've got Angel, who's the Dodger fan, and then we've got Rigo, who's an Angels fan. So interesting.
All right, yeah, absolutely. I'll let you know. I'm sure he'll love to do that. He does that for free with strangers even sometimes. So yeah.
That's why we named the show this, Adriana. I was going to Cabo like a month ago, and I was going through TSA and LAX, and the lady she goes, "Oh my God, where'd you get that hat?" And I was like, "Well, I'm on a this is our show." She's like, "I need to get that for my husband. All he does is talk shit about sports all day long. He thinks he knows everything. He don't know shit." And then she started going on and on. I was like, all right, cool. She didn't even look at my passport or anything. She's like, just go with the ticket. I was like, all right, cool.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Well, cool, Adriana.
I need to get my husband a hat and just like talk shit everything.
We even put an Angels logo right here. Talk shit everything and Angels logo right here. We appreciate you being on the show with us, and I know you're busy out there in Miami with the fights in Canelo, and it's awesome to have you here.
No, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Adriana, you guys can follow her on Adriana_sports on Instagram, as well as Fino Boxing and the YouTube channel Fino Boxing. And remember, this weekend, we also have a the weigh-in of the Canelo fight on Fox Deportes, host of the Canelo fight on Saturday night, as well as PBC Boxing on Saturday.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. I had a really good time. I'd love to do this again if you guys will have me. And
absolutely.
I'll see you in a couple of days. Like you mentioned, we have the Canelo weigh-in and Pbc Fights, and of course the post-fight show for Canelo.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Adriana, and say hi to Rigo.
I will. Thank you guys so much. Take care. Thank you.
See you guys.